What was your given situation and life story before you met Granny?
Okay, I was kind of depressed because the fact that Karen, my first wife, ran off with her boyfriend and took our daughter with us. So I felt alone and depressed. I was living in a 32-unit apartment building, so I had friends. So that helped a lot. I heard about this guy told a party in West Los Angeles, and you ought to try it out. So I went there on a lark.
Mm-hmm.
And I played a character that I normally wouldn't play. I was acting like a player, and that because I was out of my own realm, and I made this play for this blonde bimbo at the party, and let her know I was a musician and all that good stuff. Or your granny saw that. And like Jeff told me later, is because I made a play for the prettiest girl in the party. That I had confidence in myself, or at least that's what Granny saw. So she moved in, so I'm not gonna let this gal take my date away. So she asked me, could I take her home? And I was so surprised, I just gave her a quick kiss. And like, wow, a bird in the hand, right? And that's how it worked. Then we drove her to her place in West Los Angeles, and we talked for like 2.5 hours in the car, just getting to know each other. Funny thing was, I wrote her a letter. It said Barbara Canny, Kanny. I forgot how to spell her name.
That's so adorable.
Yeah, it was. So we went to Santa Barbara, and I stayed in another fraternity. Nothing close by. We were just still feeling each other out, so to speak, as friends.
What was your experience when you first met Granny?
Well, the experience was that I was so surprised that a girl would ask me to take her home. It was so unique, but then I realized I was playing this character that normally I would never do, because I'm kind of like the wallflower at the dance.
And then what did you expect before you met Granny's family?
Well, I was just going to be totally honest. I told Grandpa, I said, boy, I work in aerospace, and I have a great job, and working on the moon landing, and I probably will make almost $10,000 this year. Trying to impress Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that wasn't necessary, and got to I was into horse racing then, and to the Canning's Grandma and Grandma's generosity, we all went to Tijuana to the Agua Caliente racetrack.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then of course Susie had a 23-year-old mare. I realized then that the Cannings were bending over backwards to be extra nice, and in order to let me be in an environment I was used to, because I was a horse racing fan then.
Mm-hmm. So you explained you were a horse racing fan, and was there anything else that happened after you met Granny's family?
Gosh, it's been so long ago now. It's just hard to remember any. The thing is, I was impressed too that I realized after seeing the whole family, and then they're all college graduates, so that's what motivated me to go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
I knew if I'm going to be accepted here, I better go get my own degree.
What else kind of motivated you to get your bachelor's degree?
Well, that was the number one reason, because I realized I would always be less than, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my total motivation, the Canning family.
So you can be up to par with...
Yeah.
Right.
In other words, you can't be a non-college graduate with a whole family of graduates. So I saw that was it, the handwriting on the wall. And Granny actually went to first classes with me at Santa Monica City College. She even sat in there with me.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah, it was kind of nice.
You were an employee, a husband, a father, and a student for a good part of your life, right?
Yeah, right. I got my bachelor's at 35.
Wow. Well, that's okay. You get your bachelor's anytime.
Yeah.
What was it like to have that daily life for you?
Well, it was more or less steady all the time. I've always got to go through textbooks and practice, and then I fill out 3x5 cards, to drill myself for when exam time came, midterms and final. That was just it. I was in the Torrance Library on Saturdays, for example, And then when I at work, if things got a little slow, I would go down to the core floor of the building and read my textbook, but I figured the company's going to benefit from my education anyway, so it's kind of like a down payment on what I can do.
I'm not allowed to do that at work.
Yeah,
so.
Right, that's just it. I guess you say I could cheat it because I was studying on the job, so to speak. But
you got paid while studying.
Yeah, and luckily for me, you could afford university then. I couldn't afford it now.
Oh, jeez, I could barely afford it now.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's what I did. I got my AA in '71. I got my bachelor's in 1975.
So, I mean, you were a father on top of all that. So I imagine that's a huge impact of work you had to do. But do you feel like that even as when you were working full-time or most of the time and were a full-time student, do you think you were still a very beneficial father and like great husband to be around?
Well, I tried to be. As an only child, you rely on old habits.
That's true.
And so I told that to Jeff too. I felt if anything contributed to our separation that was one of the factors. Probably could have done a better job socially.
Yeah. Well, you can't change the past, but I mean, the fact is, like, your children do know that you were a very busy man in your 30s, so it's understandable that it must be hard. But every parent tries their best. Every parent thinks they are doing what they know is right, and there's always something that happens, but you can't get too strung up about it. How do you feel coming out of that whole lifestyle in your 30s?
Well, I kind of proud of myself. In fact, Grandma and Grandpa actually came to my graduation like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so again, the rewards were there. I went because of the Cannies, and the Cannies came to my graduation, so well balanced out that way.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it was.
You were mentioning a little bit of this, that you and Granny splitting off was the fact that, like, you have been very independent, but also, like, alcoholism was another part of that.
In fact, that was the other factor. That's the other shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing Granny's value system, her greatest fear was to be sick in a hospital, because as a child she had a lot of situations, and that's her greatest fear, of being sick. And this would be the other thing, that she could see herself having to take care of me in some hospital, alcoholics ward of a hospital,
Mm-hmm.
So I could see her point of view. But I joined Alcoholics Anonymous to save our marriage, but she said it was too late.
Well, yeah, I mean, understandable.
Yeah.
But also it kind of shows you that, like, from her past and your past, that there's connection from your childhood that impacts your later life, and
yes.
Your lifestyle definitely motivates and morphs your values in your adulthood, which is pretty interesting. And you mention it's pretty obvious, but even though you did go to AA, you did end alcoholism in your life, which is fantastic. How long have you been sober?
33 years.
That's fantastic. After all these years, what would you describe your relationship with Granny as?
Well, one of gratitude, and the thing is, I married Karen when I was 18, and I honestly didn't love her, but I did love Granny. I was honestly in love with Granny, and it's just, I hate to say that, because Karen and I were 18 and our parents knew each other, and we just thought it was destiny, because she liked me as a musician, and I was in a rock band, and she could come to that, and she loved to dance. And to me, it's kind of like divine intervention. I've had fantastic marriage with Granny, and I had a fantastic career in aerospace, 37 years in aerospace, helping put men on the moon, and I retired, and I used my college education, and luckily for me, it was a combination of good luck. I can't ask for anything more.
Now you are a grandpa. You have 2 children, you have 2 grandchildren, one of which is an adult, the other one is 15. And now that all of this has happened, how do you feel reflecting on that?
The only bad part is because I'm a cripple now. And I can't move around as much, curtail. I have limited mobility. But considering the blessings I've had in my lifetime, what I have today is all valued on the fact that I fell in love with Granny. So I have no complaints, that I can't do everything I want to do now because of, but You know, I figured I got so many blessings. Just think, when I was working down in Chula Vista, living at home with my mom and dad, was just a couple miles away, and then I get laid off, and now what do I do now? I couldn't find a job in San Diego, so I came to Los Angeles, and a whole new career lasted me a lifetime of working. So, you know, the old saying about one door closes, another one opens up, and I proved that to be true. Well, the thing is, in my case, God, and knowing that I always thank Him on my prayers. In fact, I've never been forsaken. I've always been redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
And when the chips come down, things get tough. I get bailed out. So that's why it's so emotional for me, because I've had so many great memories and miracles. I kind of figured it was going to end like this.
Yeah.
You know, because to me it's something deep down. You brought it out. Just thank you for that.
It's really cool to hear about your life story and what it was like.
Yeah.
I'm almost there, and so it's going to be really interesting to reflect on this. And I mean, that's why I picked you as my subject, because I know.
Thank you. I feel honored, because the thing is, too, I always said all along that every generation is different, and it's the way it should be.
A new family has been created because of you and Granny.
You kind of know how things are going to work out. You kind of look, you know, I was a planner by trade, you know, making events happen in the future, the timing events to happen, you know, which was part of my discipline. Mm-hmm. So I could sort of less see the handwriting on the wall early on, so that helps a lot. So what it amounts to is like Roy Rogers said, I think the good Lord took a liking to me.
Well, thank you again so much.
It's my pleasure.